One of the most dangerous countries in the world today
can strike Americans where they live.
Even the school kids are ready for war.
The rogue state
conducted its fourth nuclear test,
threatening a preemptive nuclear attack.
The U.S. is increasingly being held nuclear hostage.
North Korea, being a nation, is an enigma, a mysterious nation masked in secrecy and isolation. Its political landscape is woven with threads of authoritarian rule, dynastic succession, and an unyielding pursuit of nuclear capabilities. Let us unravel the historical and political fabric of North Korea, delving into the birth of the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, DPRK, and the enduring reign of the Kim family dynasty. We'll also explore the question of change, examining North Korea's historical isolationism, its defiance of international norms, and the unsettling threat posed by its nuclear weapons program. Picture this: September 9th, 1948, a pivotal moment post World War II and the division of the Korean Peninsula. Enter Kim Il-sung, a resilient leader who battled Japanese occupation during the war, now standing as the architect of North Korea's foundation. This marked the genesis of the ideological chasm between communism in the north and democracy in the south, a schism that would fuel decades of tension and conflict. Fast forward through time, and the political stage of North Korea remains dominated by the indomitable Kim family dynasty. Kim Il-sung's legacy transcends generations, passing the torch seamlessly from father to son. Kim Jong-il.
Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il wanted the new buildings to look graceful and imposing, even at the time of our distant descendants.
And then to his grandson, Kim Jong-un. This dynastic transfer of power has birthed a regime blending communism with an almost surreal personality cult, creating a distinctive and enduring form of political authority.
우리는 나라의 자주권을 믿음직하게 지켜낼 수 있는 최강의 국가 방위력을 마련하기 위하여 한평생을 다 바치신 위대한 수령님과 위대한 장군님의 염원을 풀어드리었으며 전체 인민이 장구한 세월 허리띠를 조이며 바라던 평화 수호의 강력한 보험을 들어주었습니다.
This reckless pursuit casts a dark shadow over the region, raising the specter of a nuclear-armed North Korea and fueling tensions on the global stage. Can North Korea break free from its historical isolationism and defy the norms that have defined its political trajectory? The answers remain elusive, but the urgency is undeniable.
We have used every word to describe the DPRK's continued threats to international peace and security. Flagrant, unacceptable, reckless, egregious.
I must begin by expressing once again our condemnation in the strongest possible terms of the utterly unacceptable provocation by North Korea in violation of multiple Security Council resolutions.
Three generations of Kims have held the position of supreme leader in North Korea since the end of World War II and Korea's liberation from Japanese colonial rule. Kim Il-sung was the founding father of North Korea, where he ruled from 1948 until his death in 1994. He was succeeded by his son, Kim Jong-il, who served for 17 years until a fatal heart attack in late 2011. Leadership then passed to Kim Jong-il's son, Kim Jong-un, in 2012. Although there was speculation over his ability to maintain regime stability, he swiftly consolidated his power. He installed his own personnel, reinvigorated the Workers' Party of Korea, WPK, as the core political organ, and reclaimed power from elite factions that had been delegated authority in Kim Jong-il's later years. Periodic purges of leadership are not out of the norm for North Korean leaders. Some have been brutal, such as the executions of Kim Jong-un's uncle Jang Song-taek in 2013 and Minister of Defense Haeon Young-chol in 2015. Scores of other top officials have been retired, demoted, or otherwise shuffled out of positions of authority under Kim. In an opaque information climate, disappearances from public view should not always be considered punitive or fatal. Some officials transition from public positions to cushy behind-the-scenes roles or resurface months or years later. Creating this sense of instability and unpredictability for elites is one of the levers that allows Kim Jong-un to maintain his hold on power. Experts say that in the event of Kim's death or serious illness, the next leader would likely be a direct family member, The promotion of his younger sister, Kim Yo-jong, and the development of her public profile have raised speculation that she could be in line to be the successor. In recent years, she has joined her brother at summits, with US President Donald J. Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping visited South Korea for the Olympics and issued statements in her name as Pyongyang escalated tensions with Seoul in June 2020. Chief policymaking comes from the WPK's Central Committee and 3 subordinate institutions: the Political Bureau, or Politburo, the Control Commission, and the Executive Policy Bureau, which also controls surveillance and appoints top personnel across the party, cabinet, and military. The Central Committee's Organization Guidance Department, OGD, and Propaganda and Agitation Department are among the most influential party agencies. The Central Committee is made up of around 20 departments, ranging from the sciences to agriculture, that link to civilian, state, and global shocks and diplomatic conflicts. The regime's response to COVID-19, including strict internal movement restrictions, exacerbated existing food shortages. The closure of borders disrupted an already stressed economy, leading to shortages of essential supplies like paper and ink for currency printing. Despite efforts by the regime to address food shortages and achieve national food security, challenges persist due to economic mismanagement, pandemic responses, and global price increases affecting essential commodities. The regime's secrecy complicates humanitarian assessments, but there are indications of internal dissent driven by harsh socio-economic conditions. Reports of defections and underground movements suggest a growing desire for change among certain segments of the population, fueled by increased awareness of living conditions outside North Korea. This internal dissent, though often hidden, poses a challenge to the regime's narrative and efforts to maintain full control. Investment. This economic strain may prompt internal dissatisfaction, compelling the regime to reconsider its policies and engage in diplomatic negotiations to alleviate hardships. While North Korea has shown resilience, sustained pressure from sanctions could push the leadership towards policy adjustments to address economic challenges. Internal reform initiatives and experiments in economic liberalization could also act as catalysts for change. The regime has shown willingness to test economic reforms, such as establishing special economic zones and attracting foreign investment in certain sectors. These efforts, though modest and reversible, indicate a recognition within the leadership that economic openness may be necessary for long-term stability. Market-oriented reforms could introduce flexibility into the rigid state-controlled economy, potentially improving living standards and economic diversification, while maintaining the regime's grip on power and ideological control. Looking ahead, generational change within the ruling Kim family could shape North Korea's trajectory. As Kim Jong-un solidifies his leadership, future leadership transitions could introduce uncertainty. A new leader might have different perspectives and priorities, potentially influencing governance, economic policies, and diplomatic strategies. Internal factionalism within the ruling elite also presents a catalyst for change, as power struggles or disputes among factions could influence policy directions and governance styles in a post-Kim Jong-un era. The foremost challenge to any significant change in North Korea is rooted in the regime's unwavering commitment to survival and security under the leadership of the Kim family. This focus on survival has driven policies centered on the development of nuclear weapons, a formidable military apparatus, and stringent control mechanisms to suppress dissent. Reforms or any openings to the outside world are assessed based on their potential impact on regime stability, with internal and external threats perceived as existential. Internally, dissent or opposition is swiftly quashed, and loyalty to the ruling Kim family is enforced through propaganda and indoctrination. Externally, the regime views the presence of U.S. forces in South Korea, joint military exercises with the U.S., and international pressure like sanctions as direct threats to its survival, further reinforcing a highly securitized posture rooted in long-standing tensions dating back to the Korean War. North Korea operates within a complex environment shaped by Northeast Asia's regional dynamics and broader great power rivalry involving the United States, China, and Russia. The presence of U.S. military forces in South Korea, alongside the U.S.-Japan alliance, adds complexity to the security landscape. China's strategic interests and historical ties with North Korea further complicate regional dynamics. These factors collectively constrain significant change within North Korea as the regime navigates a balance between major powers. The potential for miscalculation and unintended escalation poses a substantial obstacle to change, given the regime's unpredictable behavior in pursuit of nuclear weapons. Military provocations or tests by North Korea can escalate tensions and raise the risk of conflict in the region, contributing to uncertainties that complicate efforts to achieve peaceful resolutions. The trajectory of North Korea's future remains subject to considerable debate, with perspectives ranging from predictions of imminent collapse to assessments of enduring resilience. The regime, under successive leaderships of the Kim family, has weathered various challenges, including economic crises and internal power shifts, displaying remarkable resilience. Despite instances of defections and internal dissent, the regime's strong focus on survival has led to the development of nuclear capabilities and a powerful military apparatus, viewed as essential for regime security. The leadership perceives internal dissent and external threats, such as U.S. military presence and international sanctions, as existential risks, reinforcing a highly securitized posture rooted in historical tensions on the Korean peninsula. Efforts aimed at engaging North Korea through initiatives like the Sunshine Policy have sought to foster reform and openness. However, these engagement strategies have encountered significant obstacles, with North Korea's resistance to reform and persistent adherence to the existing system. Projects like the Gyeomgangsan Tourism Project and Gaesung Industrial Complex have not resulted in substantial change, leading to ongoing domestic debates over their efficacy. Despite occasional economic measures by Kim Jong-un, such as the Byongjin policy, North Korea's economic revitalization remains elusive. Policy options and diplomatic strategies toward North Korea continue to evolve, balancing engagement and containment approaches. Engagement strategies emphasize dialogue, confidence-building measures, and multilateral talks to foster peaceful resolutions and integration into the global community. Confidence-building measures include humanitarian assistance and cultural exchanges, while diplomatic initiatives aim to establish frameworks for sustainable peace. Alternatively, containment and deterrence strategies prioritize managing North Korea's nuclear threat through military presence, alliances with regional partners, and comprehensive sanctions to deter provocative behavior and prevent further proliferation of nuclear weapons. The choice between engagement and containment